Hello, 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 and welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and like something on my lip. I'm a master manifestor, and I'm sure you are too. You're watching content like this. The name of this channel is Manifesting Magic the Practical Way because there are a lot of practicalities to manifest in our lives. This is the truth of the matter, right? Um, what I'm discussing today is the importance of moving on with your life, right? Have you ever been involved with people or places or things where um, whatever drama or whatever issues were happening in that environment, it took it was a deep hold on your psyche and your mindset, right? The people were major players in your brain. In some of my dissertation, I talk about this idea of mind actors. And to me, mind actors are people that are only living in someone else's head. Like they don't really have a place in their current life. They're not making current memories. They're not in the present moment. A person has an idea about somebody or something or a concept, and they hold it in their head and allow it to govern the way that they make decisions and interact with people throughout their lives, right? So I'm always saying, be careful of your mind actors, right? Mind actors can sit around for like 10 years taking up rent, ideas, concepts, people, events. And then you look back and be like, all of the decisions that I made after that thing or after that interaction or after that person were all based on avoiding something specific, right? And so there's nothing wrong with avoiding certain environments, but we have to know when we are locked in or latched on to really specific ideas about people and places and things. Because life has always got a fun way of showing you that it's time to move on, right? I know sometimes people feel self-righteous in the way that they carry or hold things. I've done this myself too several times with several people in several environments. And over time, because I'm the kind of person that keeps on putting new information in, I didn't even have the capacity to hold on to the stuff that I wanted to hold on to, right? And so you just get to a place in your life where life has to move on, you know? I always say, like, when you think someone has done something to you, and you are the only person that sees it that way, then it is a party of one misery date. You know what I mean? A party of one misery date. Like there's nobody else participating with you on that perspective of that story. So it's like you really have to be your own fighter for that negativity. And if you're not able to carry it all throughout your life, at some point you get to a place where you just like, I just have to move on. There's nothing to be done here. There's nothing to clean up here. There's nothing to say. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to prove. There's nothing more left there to even interact with, right? At some point, everybody moves on. Even people that you thought would be held down by certain circumstances and mindsets and ideas, or either people that held high esteem for you, or either people that held low esteem for you. You see them 10 years later and they're telling you how great you are and what you're doing and all this kind of stuff. And you're just like, man, at some point, everybody moves on. And I think one of the most beautiful things about moving on in a situation where nobody sees it your way is that you don't have to live through that situation in that way. You can gather any of these other stories and perspectives on how you want to view that person, place, or thing, or situation that's available to you. You don't have to see the darkness of it. I think that's a big deal because let me tell you, it's nothing like visiting and going around family events of people or old things when you realize that some of the biggest ideas and concepts that once governed your space, that once governed the way that you were raised, that once governed the way that you interacted with your siblings or your mom or your dad, all these kind of things, these concepts have slowly drifted away. And the thing about it is that if we continue to try to live into the ideas or the mindsets that we have of a person, it only makes us look bad. We only become the person who's never moved on. you know, we become the person that's stuck on stupid, stuck in back in time, stuck on some idea of somebody that just doesn't even resonate with that person. And the thing about it is that if you have an idea of someone that's negative, I've experienced this several times in my life, but it doesn't resonate with who the person truly believes they are, you don't have any choice but to get over it and move on. Because you're the only one champion that theory. You're the only one champion that narrative, that storyline. And if you want to sit there and nurse that storyline or nurse that narrative in your life for the rest of your life, you have the option to do that. People can do this. But I'm saying here to you today that in my little wisdom that I've gathered in these almost 43 years that I've been here on this planet is that you need to move on. I remember listening to this speaking event. It was a pastor. I can't even think of the pastor's name anyway. He was having a conversation with his daughter, and they were talking about how women tend to hold things, and like we're natural nurturers, so we tend to nurture pain and nurture what we think was done wrong or uh, negative to us or something like that for much longer than men possibly do. But I didn't necessarily believe that. I figure I see what I have observed is that women will hold the emotional outward impact of it a lot more visibly and available to other people. But I think it's a disservice to men to say that they don't carry or hold grudges and things like that the same, because I know that they do. They just don't show it emotionally the same. And I think it's a disservice to think that people don't have feelings like that, because I grew up with that mindset a lot too, with men thinking that, oh, they're hardcore, they can handle this, they can take that. And I watch my dad take a lot. I watch a lot of men take a lot. And so while my thought process was that when I got married, I went into it with the same mindset as like, you're a man, you're supposed to be able to take this. I'm supposed to be able to say anything I want to you. And you're supposed to, your feelings shouldn't get hurt. So I don't want to discredit or take away from that, but I do know that women are allowed to hold on to grudges and to hold on to negative mindsets and to hold on to being a martyr a lot more than men are allowed to do it, right? We're allowed to nurture those things a little bit longer. And so I say this because I've seen so many women, so many people in general, sit around with an idea or a concept about how they think something should work, or how they think it should have went, or what they think they should have gotten out of it, or what they think should have happened, and it didn't. And they have not found the ability to just move on with their lives. And someone would say, oh, that's so rude and crude, and that's so disconnected, blah, blah, blah. No, move on. Move on. Move on. You know, there are people that I've had in my life that I can honestly say I looked at them once as the catalyst to almost every negative thing that spawned after my meeting of them, right? Because we can easily do that. We can easily just throw these things on other people. It was the marriage. The man was so awful. He was so bad and blah, 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 blah. We can do this, right? And I let these people be a catalyst to my change. And I was fighting these invisible ghosts because they didn't even care anymore. They didn't even care anymore. And as a recent situation, and I won't name the players in it, but this is a person that I have a deep, deep history with because, well, it is what it is. I always tell people who you connect with in life, especially make children and all these kind of things, they're much more related to you than your actual blood related family is, because those children are forever and stuff like that. Well, people in that environment, people that were connected to that time when I was married and stuff, and there are people that still to this day, they won't even look up when I come by to speak or say hi or anything like that. And I'm so used to it. It's been more than a decade. I just kind of go, oh, okay. They still. And then what's so funny is that this last weekend I completely forgot that this person doesn't talk to me. It completely slipped my mind, because I'm telling you, when you're walking around with negative attitude, energy, or grudge or whatever, and you haven't managed to move on, you're the only one that's latched on to it. The other people don't care. And my automatic reaction was see a person, someone I knew that my mindset is very different. And it was, oh, hi, how you doing? They spoke with no problem. I was like, what? I didn't notice until about 3 minutes later. I was like, wait, I have not spoken to this person in almost a decade. And I was like, what made them just say hi? And I was like, well, maybe it's because my energy was right. I don't know. But my thought process is that it even showed me that even when people hold on to things for a very long time, at some point, you got to move on. Life goes on. So whatever you're holding on to, whatever ideas or concepts or mindsets or things that you think you were right in, somebody did you wrong, that you had this certain idea of what was supposed to happen and they did too, and they just did something else. That you were dating this person and they never was faithful to you. That you loaned this person this money and they never gave it back to you. I'm just naming random stuff. None of these things pertain to me. But I'm just saying that these things happen. But if you continue, what is it saying? Holding a grudge is like drinking poison and expecting somebody else to get sick. Because you're the one who's consuming all of it. You're the one creating it in your head and consuming all of it. So I don't care the most raggedy things, the most negative things, the most outlandish or whatever you think they were. At some point, life moves on. Don't be left behind.